So, the Motorola Edge 50 Ultra or the OnePlus 12? Which flagship should you buy? Let's get straight to the comparison without wasting any time.
Please, I don't have any time for any gossip now. Eh? Yes.
Hi, I'm Arshad. You're watching Trakin English, your destination for detailed, incisive gadget reviews. First things first, the Edge 50 Ultra has a better industrial design compared to the OnePlus 12. And I'm not talking about the looks here because you could like Katrina Kaif, I like Chintragada Sen, both gorgeous in their own right. Basically, for a big phone, the size, the weight and the ergonomics of the Edge 50 Ultra is just right. It's actually slimmer and lighter than the OnePlus 12. And I've always felt that the OnePlus 12 was big and bulky and the Edge 50 Ultra is a nice antidote to that. This could also be because the Edge 50 Ultra uses different materials. OnePlus uses glass, where this one is made of wood finish, and you've also got a vegan leather variant. And I find all three materials to be equally premium. Another advantage on the Edge 50 Ultra is that you get IP68 rating compared to IP65 on the OnePlus 12. On a flagship phone, I think IP68 is mandatory. Now compare the displays on these phones and the audio performance. OnePlus has the larger sized AMOLED panel where Motorola has the higher refresh rate POLED one. In our testing, Motorola's display color accuracy was spot on thanks to the Pantone color validation. Just take a look at the skin tone differences here. But yes, OnePlus does have a brighter displays when you use it indoors because it also has a higher peak brightness when you're watching HDR content. Also, OnePlus offers Dolby Vision playback on Netflix. Motorola doesn't offer any sort of HDR playback. And I think that's something Motorola definitely needs to fix with an update. Hopefully it happens. That said, when we checked the displays outdoors, we saw that Motorola did get slightly brighter thanks to the higher HBM brightness. Now, while the optical in-display fingerprint scanner is fast to unlock on both the phones, I noticed that OnePlus does have better haptics. All thanks to OHaptics, you get a tighter vibration motor and better haptic feedback in general. Now, if you're an audiophile, both are audiophile ready phones. You can connect a USB DAC to it, a high-res USB DAC, and it'll work absolutely fine on both the phones. And you also do get support for LHDC and LDAC codecs, both high-res Bluetooth codecs. I did the speaker testing as well. In my testing, I noticed that OnePlus did get louder, but Motorola sounds richer and fuller. Let me know if you guys think the same. Now, before I move on, I must say this, only 2% of the people watching our videos are actually subscribing to the channel. It takes a lot of effort to do this. If not for me, at least subscribe for our team. Subscribe! I'm sure most of you are curious about which one has better cameras, the Edge 50 Ultra or the OnePlus 12. Let me take you through it. So the Edge 50 Ultra's 50MP OmniVision over50H sensor is actually paired to an optically stabilized f/1.6 aperture lens. OnePlus has the Sony LYT808 50MP sensor, and again that's also an optically stabilized f/1.6 aperture lens. But the OmniVision sensor actually has a larger sensor size of 1/1.3 inch compared to the 1/1.43 inch sensor size of the LYT808. And therefore, when you zoom in 100% into this image, you will notice that the Edge 50 Ultra actually captures higher details and finer textures as well. Colors are also ever so slightly more accurate on the Edge 50 Ultra. If you don't pixel peep, you won't be able to tell the difference. But what I saw was the OnePlus 12 actually deepens the reds and the oranges slightly. But OnePlus is definitely inconsistent with the white balance correction sometimes. On certain occasions, it takes warmer pictures than usual, like in this one. But I noticed that the color sense consistency of the primary camera with the ultra-wide-angle camera is actually matched pretty decently on both the phones. As for the HDR tuning, until you pixel peep, you will be hard-pressed to tell the difference between the two samples that I've shot here. But I did see that Moto's algorithm keeps the noise in favor of the details, where OnePlus's noise correction algorithm smoothens it out, especially in the shadows. But there are times in certain pictures that I shot in low light, Motorola does offer far better highlight control and more details of the shadows as well, which are much more crushed on the OnePlus 12. You can see it for yourself. And Motorola also offers impressive skin tones thanks to the Pantone skin tone validation. And this time around, unlike the Edge 50 Pro, which had a yellow skin tone problem, the Edge 50 Ultra doesn't have that, thankfully. The OnePlus 12 skin tone, of course, is not as accurate as Motorola. And when you crop in 100%, you will also notice that Motorola actually captures finer textures and details on my face. Even when you're shooting people against the light, Motorola is better than OnePlus. Now in portraits, Motorola offers you 4 different focal lengths. OnePlus also offers you 3 different focal lengths. And I like the edge detection and the bokeh drop-off captured by both the algorithms. It's actually very good. But if you look at the furthest zoom 85mm portraits on Motorola, they do look very good. So do the 3x portraits from OnePlus. They also look pretty impressive. Now let's talk about low light photographs, and Motorola just beats the living daylight out of OnePlus. All pun intended. Whether you're shooting at 0.5x, 1x, 3x or 6x, Motorola captures more details than OnePlus in low light shots. It has a brighter exposure too, and it doesn't have the underexposed shadows like OnePlus does. It also has far less noise, by the way. OnePlus lost here. Fair and square. But when you look at the ultra-wide daylight shots, I think both are almost equally matched. I couldn't tell the difference between the two. However, in my daylight telephoto shot comparison, I noticed that OnePlus does capture more details at 3x and actually even at 6x. Motorola pulls back a win again with the selfies, and it's like a clear victory here again. I got some of the best looking selfies with excellent skin tones, excellent detailed retrieval, superb exposure, correct white balance, and excellent contrast as well. And when you look at the selfies, just take a look at the edge cutout of my spiked hair. Motorola does it so well. Even against the light, you get sort of this natural HDR look compared to the slightly bloomy look of OnePlus. But I mean, here there's not too much of a difference. In low light shots, again, I like the natural look of Motorola compared to the slightly artificial look on OnePlus, especially when you zoom in. Having said that, in video recording at 4K 60 FPS, OnePlus 12 does have a more natural looking footage. Plus, it also does record audio quality better. Alright, so now we're actually recording a 4K 60 FPS video using the OnePlus 12 and now while OnePlus does do well in daylight video recording, in low light video recording, Motorola does well. What I notice is that Motorola does capture more details and has a brighter exposure while recording videos in low light. 4K 60 FPS ultra wide angle videos are slightly better on OnePlus, that's for sure. And when you want to zoom, both these phones are not very smooth with the zoom experience, but Motorola is slightly better than OnePlus. However, OnePlus can zoom further when you're recording video. Selfie video recording, on the other hand, is definitely better on Moto. Primarily because you can shoot 4K 60 FPS videos using the selfie camera with stabilization no less. OnePlus tops out at 4K 30 FPS selfie video recording, and if you actually want stabilized footage, you will have to drop down to 1080p 30 FPS. So I'm fairly convinced when I say this, Motorola has better cameras than OnePlus. Now, since the OnePlus 12 has the more powerful Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 inside compared to the Snapdragon 8s Gen 3 inside the H50 Ultra, it is more powerful. Of course, the OnePlus 12 scores higher in Antutu and in Geekbench. And as for gaming, we tried Genshin Impact, played the game for 30 minutes at highest graphics and 60 frames per second, and we got a higher average FPS as well. And neither of these two phones have any heating issues, so that's very good. Plus, if you look at it, both of these phones also have UFS 4.0 storage, so you get similar read-write speeds as well. Having said that, OnePlus does tend to throttle performance, as is evident from the CPU throttle score that we have compared to the H50 Ultra, which doesn't throttle as much. And this is something that I had mentioned in my detailed long-term review of the OnePlus 12 as well. If you haven't watched that yet, go check that video out, you'll enjoy it. Basically, OnePlus hasn't tuned the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 inside the OnePlus 12 for performance, which the iQOO 12 does actually. Now, if you're not a hardcore gamer, Now, if you're not a hardcore gamer and you just want a fast and smooth daily usage, then actually both these phones don't disappoint at all. And you know what? I checked the app opening and closing animations. They look very identical. It's very, very good, by the way. Now, the biggest difference between the two phones is the size of the battery inside these phones, and that is why the OnePlus is also thicker. So OnePlus has a larger 5400 mAh battery compared to the 4500 mAh one inside the Motorola. And obviously, I've said this before, OnePlus is a battery monster. We are constantly getting 8 to 9 hours of average screen on time. Of course, Motorola doesn't match up to OnePlus, but it's thankfully no slouch. I'm getting fantastic battery life. So on an average, I'm getting 7 hours of screen on time, which is respectable in my opinion. Also, Motorola charges faster in the wired charging mode. So you get a 125 watt charger inside the box, and like I said, it can also charge your MacBook, and it can charge your phone from 0 to 100 in about 18-19 minutes. OnePlus also has 100 watt super fast charging, which is fantastic, but it takes 27 minutes. So technically, Motorola is better. And both these phones also support 50 watt wireless charging for what it's worth. So Motorola has Hello UI based on Android 14. OnePlus has OxygenOS 14 based on Android 14. Motorola promises 3 years of software updates, and OnePlus adds +1 to that promise. That said, as far as update schedules go, OnePlus has a better track record than Motorola. But as far as software experience goes, I prefer Hello UI over OxygenOS. It's clean, it's light, and it doesn't try to be an iOS ripoff. Fluid Cloud equal to Dynamic Island. OnePlus. But most importantly, it has some premium flagship software features that OnePlus kinda lacks. Of course, you get Moto Gestures, Moto Secure, Family Space. We've spoken at length about these features, but what's new is more important. For example, Smart Connect. And Smart Connect is definitely a game changer for Motorola at least. You can connect your phone, you can mirror all of your apps, you can swipe to stream, and you can use your mouse or keyboard on your laptop in cross-device control. And the implementation is done well and it's pretty seamless too. That's not it. Motorola has also introduced a new AI wallpaper generator called Magic Canvas. And the good part about this implementation is that you can give it complete prompts, your very own prompts, and it will generate images for you. You don't have to pick out from a bunch of options that are listed like on Pixel phones. And the resulting images, you can use them as wallpaper, but you can actually also use them to share it across different social media apps like you would want to on WhatsApp. So yeah, when it comes to software experience, Motorola wins it for me. Now here's what I feel about both these phones individually. So the OnePlus 12 offers better performance and better battery life, which was expected. On the other hand, the Edge 50 Ultra has the better flagship software experience with AI capabilities. It has a better flagship camera experience with better low light photographs and a proper IP68 rating as well, which is missing on the OnePlus 12. The overall phone, despite not using 8 Gen 3, how many times? Now the overall phone, despite not using the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, feels like a more balanced flagship experience. Now with that in mind, you can make your choice, but if you were to ask me, I prefer really good cameras on my flagship experience, so I'd pick Motorola over OnePlus. But you could have different priorities, and I'd love what your priorities are in the comment section below. I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, keep tracking and stay safe.